It was a harrowing fight. Last session, few of you managed to get out of that scuffle, that tactical onslaught, nearing death itself within an inch of your life. A couple of your comrades were not able to consider themselves as living in the moment. It wasn't until the magic of greater demons and precision striking from Chaeltah was able to push back the forces of Zileth and his astral knights. Zadali was almost theirs, and so were your captain as well as your mage friend Alfonso. Give yourselves a short rest as you are now jettisoning through the phlogiston at jamming speeds. Toplo was able to articulate the proper triangulation of Aruun between you and this moon in Doomspace. Wilver had done everything that he could during the fight, but was still able to utilize every ounce of fuel left in your cells in order to bring yourselves to the moon in less than 2 hours. As you all begin your approach, you notice that as the ship passes through the edging streams of the phlogiston and the aiding accelerant that it would bring, dropping out of jamming speeds and then floating into the astral sea that you once soared through before, you notice that the crystal sphere that Doomspace was or would be encased in looks to have been shattered. There's no defining lines of this realm space, of this wild space. You don't even see a defining star, but you do see several astral bodies orbiting around a dark point of origin. A number of what look to be like massive shattered panes of glass begin to pass by around you, slow enough that you would be able to easily navigate your way through without having to worry about crashing into some of these. But you see these as almost like spectral and glossy versions of what likely was this crystal sphere at one point. Crux from the back of the ship just calls out, "Yeah, nothing's changed. I hope nothing's changed over there too." And you see the Moondancer and Last Breath flying in tandem and getting closer and closer to this green, almost teal, mist-covered moon. And the closer you get, the more defined these shapes become. You see the mist is more of a large, swathing cloud. And as you break through the clouds, you see a massive, all-encompassing jungle landscape. Greenery and topiary that is higher than any evergreen has grown back in Toril. Mountain ranges that look far, far more ancient than perhaps maybe where Chaeltah, where you may have even come from. There's an age to this moon, and likely an age to this wild space as well. As you begin to descend further in and further in, the atmosphere, the sky, now shows itself as like this dull yellow, gives off like this almost like concurrent sunset vibe to everything that you see. There's no defining dock. There's no defining flat of land that you see to be able to easily land your ships. In order to aid Wilver, could one of you give me a perception or survival check?
Take it. I would say take it. That's money.
18. Let's do 18 plus 5 survival, or 18 plus 8.
I would take the higher number.
With that's a high roll. With that, you're able to find a.
There isn't anything you don't see.
Yeah. There's nothing you don't see.
How does that for detail?
Yeah.
There's nothing you don't see.
You just see everything, man.
Dot, dot.
The area beneath you begins to almost unravel itself before your eyes in the sense of finding safe enough passage for your ships to both land. What once was like a very densely covered vine overgrowth over maybe some ancient temple, now you see the space behind and are able to anticipate what structures could yield themselves to you. And after especially your experience back on Dragon's Rest, you know the architecture. You can anticipate the architecture of such religious places. Navigating around this said overgrown temple, as you anticipated, a flat area, wide area of stone and moss, wide enough for just the two of your ships to land perfectly. And you see that this is like a what looks to be a 100 by 100 square slab. Perhaps this was some sort of ceremonial or entertaining space for what once might have been here. But there was also something that caught your eye on the descent. Something moving, something large. Off in the distance, cresting over the canopy, you see this dark silhouette of a beast you have maybe heard of in legend. Give me a history check. I'll also allow a nature check, but it's going to be a little bit of a higher DC.
Cosmic intellect uninvoked, which gives me advantage in all intelligence checks.
Nice.
And so yeah, I'll do a history check. Or advantage.
So yeah, I'll do it.
I'll be historical.
Dude, you're a pro, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean history is +1. So maybe I'll do a nature check.
So what does that thing give you?
Advantage.
Oh yeah.
What?
22 nature check, baby.
22 nature check.
Wow.
Baby.
He knows
Baby.
things about nature, baby. Wow.
There are
Didn't even need advantage.
few creatures in existence that can survive beyond maybe 50, 60, 70 feet tall. And there's one creature of legend that you have a hunch might be on this moon.
Nessie?
Dude.
Nessie?
Dinosaur.
24 nature check. So I understand that this is something It could be over 70, 80 feet tall.
This creature, the reason why it has been known purely as a legend is because there has, it, to your knowledge, only has ever been one in existence in all of realm space. Now this is realm space where Toril resides. It doesn't necessarily mean that there is any other of these creatures elsewhere, or even their point of origin.
Can I tell us my crew? Or I guess my crew's over here. We don't have any sending stones.
You guys have landed and now are like,
Oh,
yeah.
I can send messages with magic.
Or we're walking up. We've all arrived.
Yeah, it's like midday essentially.
Okay.
You've all arrived. You've landed, and the basically each ship's respective deckhands are preparing alarm spells and other sort of like ways to help secure and fasten the ship to this platform.
I'd love to, tell this to my friends. Is this only something I can see because of my perception roll?
Without your keen eye, most others probably would have just mistaken it for another tree. Like it's that massive.
I proceed to explain what you kind of just told me in a voice that's similar to this to everybody else. So, is this creature standing or is it flying?
It looked like it was standing, and but once your ships landed on this platform, you can't see it anymore. It was far in the distance, and at this point, and I'll still apply the same perception check. Occasionally, you can hear just like a very subtle, like it's walking.
So, Chaeltah, you said this thing was fairly large. What did it look like?
You saw a pair of spines, horns on its head, and maybe like a bit of serrated spines off of its neck.
And it was 70, 80 feet tall. Might be the reason for all these
Searching
bumps.
Did you perceive it to be some kind of a threat?
It seems like it seems like it might be a threat, but also it's just it's just an animal that's been here for a very, very long time. Not many people know too much about it, but it seems kind of dangerous on the outside.
Well,
But
maybe we could avoid it. I mean, because we are just simply here to get fuel, like mine some fuel, and hopefully continue on our way through Doomspace.
Chaeltah, do you know, does this thing does it see? Is it reliant on vision? Does it smell? Have a sense of smell?
is it looking at me?
In the brief moment you noticed it in your descent, it didn't seem like it looked at you. There was a moment when the light kind of caught like its face, and you kind of saw like maybe scales, maybe skin, an eye for sure.
Well,
Supposed to have.
I mean, I think ideally if this thing didn't look threatening, you're the only one who got a view on it.
I can't even. It's barely a subjective thing.
Yeah, I know that you don't know. I know that you're kind of just relaying information, but if it doesn't, it could be threatening. It could be a threat. Could lead to the end of this adventure as we know it. However, we are here for a reason, so hopefully, we possibly can avoid it. It's clearly some kind of mythical beast or whatever. Maybe it's the last of its kind. Maybe it's awfully weak. We don't need. If we don't interact with it, that might be for the best.
Do we go higher or do we go low? Do we go to the mountains or the caves? Where do we search?
Are those two distinct places?
Do we need to run below ground or above ground? I don't know. It
Crux
seems-
has been here before, so maybe he would be able to tell us where the ore would be.
Crux isn't here
After they all descend off of the ship, you see at this point, Captain Sartell, her whole midsection is just wrapped in bandages. Alfonso, his arms look burned, like severely burnt after receiving that damage from the photon breath, and everyone's being very, very careful and after dealing with such an ordeal. Crux eventually comes down, sees you interacting and like talking and stuff. What'd you see? Did you find something?
A very large monster. It seemed to be walking around, looking kind of a little scary, but I don't really know what its intent is. But have you ever seen such a thing?
Ooh, it's both a blessing and a curse that you found it. They're called Tarasks. They are a devastation. Now, they're an omen. If you ever come across one, hell, if we ever cross paths with one, you better make all prayers to your gods or goddesses in the meantime, because I have yet to meet a single person to come out on the other side alive. Where did you see that you,
Do you hear this?
And at that point, there's like a...
If we stay out of its way, where? First off, where did you see it?
I saw it to the north.
Nice.
This is role playing, boys.
North.
That's working quick on your feet.
North.
plus.
There's probably no such thing as north on another planet.
Oh.
What do you think, guys?
I mean, if there's like
It's
a
different
light
text.
source in the galaxy.
There's different types of. There's
Yeah.
different rhythms.
Polarities.
That every single planet takes. But ours in its specific gravity.
You can come up with your own north just based off
Okay,
of the
Neil
largest
deGrasse
light
Tyson.
source.
You're trans-north.
Thumbs out,
It's actually
thumbs out.
pronounced Degrassi.
Ah,
Oh man, that's where Drake comes from.
Yeah.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, Degrassi.
Degrassi High School.
He's in his little wheelchair.
That's honestly,
Yeah.
that's like sounds like a Mad TV sketch.
Neil deGrasse
Neil
Tyson.
deGrasse Tyson.
He's the principal.
Yeah,
of,
yeah.
like,
Is he the yeah? Like, how
He's
where
the
does
principal, or he is Aubrey Grant's character. You know?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's Kenan Thompson as Neil deGrasse Tyson in the wheelchair.
In the wheelchair.
You know, we're all just Stardust. Really.
Yeah.
Millions and
I
billions.
fucking love science.
Well, it's Aubrey Graham before the accident, and then it's Neil deGrasse Tyson in a wheelchair
Yeah.
after the accident.
It's
Oh.
yeah. You see
Yeah,
Aubrey
like
getting
facial
shot,
reconstructive
Yeah,
and,
surgery.
then, and then Neil deGrasse Tyson.
He
Yeah.
jumps in front of a bullet, and that's how he ended up in the
Yeah.
wheelchair.
Yeah. That's how he became Neil deGrasse Tyson.
There's a lot here. There's a lot.
There's at least a NSL
Oh,
sketch.
which makes me think of that
SNL
episode of, that episode of Always Sunny where like Charlie gets smart and he just slowly over time is getting more and more like decrepit as he gets smarter. I mean, at the end he's like in a wheelchair.
He's just yeah.
Anyways, good stuff.
I would say it would probably be best for us to avoid that thing at all costs. That being said, I know this is one of the Artuukian temples of sanctity, as far as I could tell from from topside. So, if I were to guess, thankfully we don't have to head north, wherever you think north is. We don't need to head in that direction. I'm thinking we're gonna have to head further down. It does go downhill quite a ways that way, and he points in the like basically the opposite direction that you saw the Tarask, and says like it's a pretty tough downward slope. So everyone either like grab onto a rope, I suggest, and like get within like a foot of each other to make sure no one gets lost or falls too far. It's pretty steep. But towards eventually, after about maybe a quarter of a mile or so, we'll start to see one of the forgotten metropoli that are here. This moon used to be something. You'll see what I mean. And he begins to walk forward, and Garganhael shouts out loud, "So you sure you know where we're supposed to head, eh? Seems like old Bugface knows more than you do."
I trust my friend Crux here. Crux is a very smart person, and he knows this land quite well. And I understand that you have some doubts, but I am leading him as he leads me.
Oh, so be it. I guess we haven't gone too far astray thus far. Alright. Men of the Lost Breath, we follow after Crux and Captain Chaeltah's crew. I say we get the fuel and get the hell out of here as fast as possible in order to avoid any sort of interaction with quite an ancient beast, yeah?
Is there any way that we could potentially fly our ships to this area? Because if what you're telling me is that we have to have a quarter-mile long rope to get down the slope and then carry back up the unrefined ore from this spot?
Fuck me.
I mean,
Fuck me.
My lower back is in pretty rough shape. I don't think I'm.
Here's the thing. If y'all have means of flying us back up with magic after we get these fuels, be my guest. I just know that it is going to get only denser and denser. There's no plateau at this point that at least has this much of a clearing. I mean, this is probably as good as it gets unless you are in, like I'm talking in the metropolis. I mean, imagine trying to feed a needle through 10 layers of Kevlar. Doesn't exist in this universe, but Kevlar. I mean, it's going to be pretty impossible. So, unless you want to try risking damaging the ships, which I don't think you do either. I'm afraid this is all we're going to be capable of doing.
Is the passage too small for us to be able to get one of the fighter jets in?
because
That's a thought.
we could, if there's some form of, there's a tow cable system, or we could rig up something with ropes. We could use a couple of fighter jets to lug the ore back up. I feel like that is a little more reasonable because, yeah, I mean, and who knows? I'm a gunner, not an engineer, not the boatswain. I'm not someone who can answer this question.
Tapala, they're your ships, right? Do you think that these guys have about a 5-degree turn radius for them to be able to navigate through, well, what you see here? And as you all look down the western edge of this platform, there is indeed a cliffside that goes down and around this temple, and I mean, it's steep. You can't even see with the amount of foliage and
bits of tree and fallen debris that have been trapped here, you really can't see the ground. I would say, so long as there's going to be some of us who can be the machete, so to speak, in front of the ships, it should be able to navigate. That's actually not a bad idea.
Well, and even if we don't necessarily have to fly them down there per se, we could just climb down there, you know, create different whatever, like nets of material that can be carried up by the fighters potentially. I feel like that might be within a realm of possibility.
So then,
Because then all we simply have to figure out is,
so we just so you want to glide down? So how do you want the fighters to get down?
I suppose after the ore has been found and has been secured into bundles, we could then. You just said that it was possible for a fighter to get down there?
I see. After the fact?
After the fact.
Loud and clear. Sure. I will say here, in my Orwicks, I still got 3 of those that might be able to help with that.
Joan might be able to send you a message once we're able to secure the ore.
Yeah, I can do that.
All right, okay. Captain Sartell says, as much as I'd love to be a part of your crew and help, I think I need to actually rest up in underutilized sickbay. Gonna need to be able to be at my best if we're going to be speaking with some of the top men and
What's up,
others.
Kev?
Hey.
What's up, brother? It's been a minute. Good to see you. Papa Squat, right here.
What's up?
Nice to see you again.
See you.
Go, bro.
Homie love.
Homie, show him all the love. Oh, right.
As Captain Sartell says that she's going to have to reluctantly stay on the ship, you see essentially all of the vampirates are going to stay on the ship, with the exception of the heavily tattooed orcish vampire. He volunteers.
I think that the rest of yours could be able to utilize my brawn and strength.
As he flexes unnecessarily in front of everyone. Garganhale's just covering his face, just in shame.
Joan is 100% biting her lip right now.
I believe it.
So still the same character?
Yes.
Remember.
Everyone remembers.
Yeah, Kevin, still the same.
I would have been gone by now.
Perfect. So, the crew going down is going to be your party plus Crux and the orc vampire, of whose name I will pull up again because I forgot it off the top of my head. Bobo's his name.
I was getting Sea Space Cowboy vibes at the beginning with that music made me think of the an epilogue of an episode.
Oh,
of,
yeah.
of Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, dude. Could I get the Chaeltah, actually? Go ahead and roll survival with advantage, as Crux is going to be helping you. The 2 of you are going to be in the front. And the rest of you, I'm going to need either athletics or acrobatics. Alright, to be able to hold yourselves down this slope. Of course, if you have any spells at your disposal to help you with this, you can do so as well.
12.
And this is to navigate down the quarter-mile long rope that we have.
This is so the idea of That's a good point. The rope is going to get you about a quarter of the way down.
Quarter of the way, so an eighth of a mile. So you have an eighth of a mile rope.
I mean, it's Garganhale's rope. It's the
Hey,
Moondancer's
I'm not
rope.
asking questions.
I
It's
did-
Garganhale's rope. I'm just holding on to it.
Suspend the disbelief for just a little
Yeah,
bit. There is enough rope
Wow,
to get
this is fantasy.
you after all, to be able to get yourself down, and then it is your ability to keep yourself from falling, essentially.
Gotcha.
Okay, so what did you, Chaeltah, get for survival?
11.
11.
With advantage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Survival or what?
No.
No, it's just survival with advantage.
Well, survival for you.
Yeah.
I got 5 and a 6, and then. Plus
Actually,
five,
well,
plus five.
and then eventually I do need you to also make acrobatics or athletics as you descend.
What's the survival for?
Just because he's leading the party?
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Finding like less trepidatious paths.
15.
Okay. 15,
21.
21, 12,
21.
21, 10. Okay.
You guys just see me roll by.
It's like that scene in Hot Rod.
Yeah.
We're all like, okay.
Yeah.
So the DC for this is going to be 15 for the first half.
Alright, I have Jarvel, Athletics, 23
Nice. Okay, write that down.
for Athletics.
And then what was the other one that we were looking for?
Wilbur's acrobatics.
Okay.
Oh, you got me.
Oh, nat 20.
Nice. So who got below a 15?
Wait, no, for the acrobatics?
For acrobatics.
I got 15.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
I was just saying, I thought he.
So that is a group success
Let's
for the first half.
You guys catch me as I'm
Yeah.
rolling.
Yeah, you Turb and Alfonso begin to like slip, and each of you are able
Can
to
you
catch
catch me
each
up to
other.
speed a little bit on like if why would you be rolling? Are we on? we're on
Well, he
like
just
ships
failed.
or something?
He
Where are we
failed.
going? Where are we going?
Yeah.
Tell me
We're
the
climbing
flow.
down a slope right now to get fuel for our ship, basically.
The slope begins to not necessarily get steeper, but there is more moss. More, it's getting cooler in the temperature in the landscape, and as it's getting darker, it's a little bit more difficult to see, a little bit more difficult to navigate. So the DC is going up to 20 for both the descent and survival.
So I get a 20.
Or as a group.
As
So
a
the majority of us have to get it for the group to survive.
So first, give me, Chaeltah, a survival check with advantage.
come on.
It was a measure for Nance.
With advantage, 16,
Wait, we rolled twice.
4,
He's doing this as a separate check.
6, 21 for survival.
Nice.
The acrobatics now?
All right, now everyone roll the same that you did, whether acrobatics or athletics.
Ew, I got a 4.
Ooh, we're.
Hey, you
Let's go.
20.
I haven't rolled the
Nice.
15 yet. So, or for anyway. Jarvel again.
Chaeltah, what did you get? 11?
What's your plus?
Nice.
I still haven't rolled beneath a 15.
Really?
I got 23, and Jarvel got 23.
Beast.
Okay.
Nice.
What'd you get? 2. 4.
I got 23 and Wilbur got 11.
All right.
Do we all
Put the team on our back.
Now, or?
At this point,
The rope snaps, you all die.
well, now you don't have the support of the ropes. Hence why the DC
Gotcha.
is
So we're just climbing.
you're just climbing.
Okay. I thought it was like It required a rope the whole way, which is why I was wondering why we only have like an inch-mile rope when we had a quarter-mile slope.
Simon, we get to the top of the rope and we just flip it up and then you keep climbing.
It's like, yeah,
It's
like
just
Looney Tunes where you like
progressive
climb up the ladder, then you flip
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you fall, there's just like you hold up a sign that says "Oh no."
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like
Stop
nothing.
in midair.
And then the white flag starts waving.
Yeah.
And you fall.
Yeah.
Oh man. So
Chuck Jones score. Classic shit, dude.
Good stuff.
Bobo, the the brute
Okay.
of a pirate, of a vampirate, takes his first frustrated tumble. And as he was
All my homies hate Bobo. Yeah, thumb out.
For people who are listening, we have the index finger, ring finger, and pinky down. We keep the thumb out
Peeky down.
just to point it out.
he takes his first frustrated tumble down. Thus, the rest of you are unable to keep your steady as this massive comrade of yours begins to basically make a chain reaction tumble, until eventually you all do painfully land yourself onto the ground.
We all?
Land on the ground painfully.
Painfully. Not broken, nothing broken.
Oh man,
It hurt. Ow.
these are better than I remember. And I had them last week.
Takis.
You each take 8 points of bludgeoning damage.
8 points of what damage?
Just 8 points of damage on your.
You
on
probably
your
can't
points.
edit it because you're in a view only. You can try and tap that. Yeah. Thank you. What? So you can just keep a fraction.
51 minus
51 minus 8.
So 43.
Thanks, Doug.
You're.
welcome.
Can I borrow that real quick? I'm gonna keep Wilbur's over here.
I'll let you do that.
I'll let me do that.
So good.
I'll let me do that.
All right, 8 HP.
As
Even
you
though I
all
rolled a goddamn 23.
2 of them at that.
I rolled actually 3.
that
I'm
really
counting-
is unfortunate. that sucks.
So a 21 and 3 23s.
As you all now land on your feet, or bring yourself up to your feet painfully, now in a bit of, you see Crux in a bit of a daze, trying to find his bearings. My bearings! No, my bearings!
Where are my bearings?
I dropped my bearings.
Bearings! Oh no!
Scoob!
Where are my bearings?
Jinkies! I lost my glasses. Jinkies, my bearings!
Dude, almost as good as Neil deGrasse Tyson.
You hear him say, "Damn it! I think it's over this way," and begins to
About to roll up on him.
roll it up on him.
I found your bearings.
Actually,
Hey,
I
there's
Looks like you
Yeah,
dropped your bearings.
Start creaking away.
Newton's law says.
In order to find your
not
bearings,
An object in motion stays in motion.
he begins to take the lead, hoping to aid in your guys' venture to this unknown mine of Fluxen ore. Until you hear a few noises coming from around you in the forest. Some branches snapping from some sort of underfoot. Until Crux just yells in pain. Something got me! And then another one hits the hits Bobo, and he yells, "Where are they? Come out, all of you! Where are you hiding?"
Just watching your facial expressions was like a story.
There was only like one that hit between like 4, and then finally another one hit.
Just imagining Bobo like, where are you?
It wasn't Bobo that was rolling.
It was Crux rolling his bearings.
Yeah, his rolling his
Bobo.
Boom! We're back, folks. Absu and Joan, you each see out of the corner of your eye the bright white lights, almost like a bullet, hit you each respectively for 6 more points of
All of us?
radiant damage. Just you two, just Joan and Absu. The rest of you see.
This is after rolling 3 23s and a 21.
I pull them both out and go, oh, these aren't the pricks I usually like.
And at this point,
The saddest of trauma villains.
Crux says, "We need to go fast. We need to book it now. I know the mine's around here somewhere." And then immediately, you see yourselves swarmed by these. Like, the closest thing that you can imagine as what you can compare these creatures to as large plant-like starfish coming out from, with each arm coming out from the trees. As one of them, as one of the arms on each of these, and you see about 9 and then 10 of these odd creatures, spiny backs with their the central head with 5 eyes sticking out from the top of it, and one of their arms, of each of their arms, pointed out like they're about to like barb up another shot.
I have a question.
Okay.
Do I feel woozy, dizzy, any type of high, or like some type of intoxication from these?
No.
No.
And then, almost in unison, you hear in your minds, but coming from the same source, all of these plant-like, starfish-like creatures.
And where do you think you're going?
All echoing, all in your minds, communicating to you telepathically from these creatures that seem to have encircled you.
We're simply trying to access one of the old fluxing mines in this area.
Mines. There are no such mines. You must leave or perish.
And then you hear another, some other creature that seems to be walking towards you through the brush, but this one, from their silhouette, looks to be a little bit more human. Almost like that of an elf.
What up? Cool.
Glad you can make it, dude.
Yeah. Sorry I'm late.
Dude, you're right when you said you were gonna be here.
This is true. Yeah.
That yeah. Nice.
I think I'm going to. Can I use a divine sense to detect good and evil?
Sure.
Until the end of your next turn, you can sense anything affected by the hollow spell or know the location of any celestial fiend undead within 60 feet that is not aligned total cover.
You open your mind to the ethereal, and you sense first a brief hostility, but in a neutral and self-preservation sense. But then passing beyond that, looking for particular threats maybe of within those creature types, and so far, none are tripping your radar.
Okay. So I guess I'm perceiving that they could potentially be reasoned with. That's sort of how I'm responding to that.
As your spell begins to dissipate, you then see this what looks to be a female elf, a green, like emerald green skin elf, begin to step forward. Her hair are only made of leaves, like banana leaves, long leaf-like hair. Eyebrows are sharp thorns, and a breastplate of like interwoven wood, and the rest of her arms and legs, aside from her hands, seem to be like these sharp flower petals, and even her legs kind of taper down into like these thorns that jet out from her shins, and these sharp petals that jet out from her shins, and her feet with every step kind of just like meld into the earth. And she holds out her hand, and the glowing eyes of these odd starfish-like creatures begin to fade into a dark amber before they gleam. And she says, "I don't believe I've seen a GIF, 2 GIFs, in quite some time, let alone the lot of you. What is your purpose here on my moon?"
And we're simply passing by. We're just trying to get some more fuel for our ship, and then we're on our way.
Curious, no one has successfully landed. Here, I must ask, whom are you seeking? I sense a deeper purpose than the ability to travel.
And Crux, grudgingly, he takes his hat off.
Milady, I offer my humble service if you would merely guide us in the direction of one of the abandoned Luxon mines. I used to be a traveler on this moon and with the crew. But I have to ask, you mentioned you haven't seen gifts in a long time. When was the last time that you've had a gift here?
Oh, there is, in fact, one other that lives within my refuge. Is he someone that you know? And his eyes and ears perk up.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. He and I were comrades. Warwick is his name, and he is part of our long estranged band. Is there any way that we might be able to? Is he far?
This mine that you are after is not far from my refuge. And if it is
rest that you will eventually need, I could be willing to allow a brief stay. But for the rest of you, have you any other purpose than to siphon what remains of the mine?
I'd like to meet your finest of hunters and inquire about the land and their relationship to it.
Our larger goal is to seek the Moonrise Ward. Not sure if there are any members present here.
Do they refer to themselves as the Coalition? Because that is what I have known them as. This ward that you speak is not how they say rings of any bell. But there is a meager troop.
Just arrived recently.
No. They've been marooned here for some time.
Did we think that they were marooned for some time?
You would believe that it has been, it has been a while. It wouldn't have been just like a handful of days, but probably closer to, according to Crux, before he left from Brawl, so at least on Warwick's side, probably closer to maybe a couple months, maybe a month. As far as the rest, like your parents, that would have been a little bit of a shorter timeline than that. Nothing really concrete, though.
Gotcha. Okay. Perhaps they might be of the group that we're seeking, so we'd like to meet them and find out, I suppose.
Artuuks, lower your spines and let us carve a safe path for our new refugees. And she extends her hands, and like flowers, small little daisies begin to sprout out from the ground in a path in front of her and in front of you. Vines then begin to part a little bit, but the rest of these creatures that she's calling the Artuuks, they begin to wrap themselves around the trees and, like, out of sheer force, bending limbs and branches out of the way for you all to see. Off in the distance, what looks like it once was could have been a very heavily populated city, a stone country that goes from the lowest point of this jungle to the highest peaks of the canopy. Even pillars of this abandoned city seem to breach the reaches of the canopy and could very easily be mistaken by by other imperceptive people, more threatening creatures. But you get closer and closer, and you can see several levels of an abandoned, pristine, or likely was once a pristine city, a metropolis, overgrown by flora and trees that have breached through bridges connecting over chasms, areas of regality that have been intertwined by overgrown roots and networks of mycelia that have completely overtaken this space. A clearing opens up overhead, and you can
you can see a what looks to be like a ship, a massive ship, probably about 4 times in length of Moondancer, that has been left abandoned, crashed over top one of these bridges, kind of leaving like this vast shadow over this whole overgrown metropolis. Broken in half, its bow stuck in directly into this what looks to have been like that regal center where majority of the root networks have taken place, and the other half has like tipped upwards and broken and fallen down into some other valley beyond. You now see birds and more people like this woman, walking and roaming, gliding across from vine to vine, hardly really walking on the ground or really any of the stone, but really just a part of the nature. And these Artuuks melding then back, once they have made this path for you, melding back almost invisibly into the landscape. Follow me. Here is where you will rest for the night. And hopefully, with the help of your long estranged companions, you'll be able to acquire the ores in order to leave safely. I leave the rest of my Silva at your behest. Any questions you have of them, have my permission to serve. You all seem weary of much, and I hope that you can heal of much.
I just want to say I really appreciate the hospitality, and I hope this doesn't come across weird, but why are you being so hospitable to us?
How long would you guess your kind tends to live? 5 decades? A century? 2 centuries?
I mean, there's kind of a giant question mark in regards to my kind that I still haven't necessarily gotten answers for, so at this point I'd kind of defer to your wisdom on that.
There is a presence of the elemental that I feel as though I once might have been able to commune with long ago. I would wager about perhaps 4 generations of your kind that this once was an untouched, pristine, safe, well-kept moon within our wild space. We even had a star to our name. And then there was a very cataclysmic event. Our star began to fade, but so did many, many of our people. They began to point fingers at oncoming tourists, maybe usurping some of the energies of our moon, of neighboring moons, but ultimately The star was the source of much of their life. There were only so many ships that could take them away. They chose to pick their favorites and they left, forcing us to adapt and evolve. For a while we couldn't trust really anybody. Those of you who may come to merely obtain a few pounds of fluxin would very, very quickly turn around and attempt to backstab against even the smallest of Artuuks, the weakest of our kind, and so it was very hard for us to be able to trust in any sort of outsider. It wasn't until we saw the desperation of one party smaller than this. They crashed on our moon, perhaps, well, a portion of them, maybe about, in your time, 60 days ago. And for the others, less than 5. They had nothing. And we could have very easily made sure that there would be no sign of their nothing. But my elder, he took pity on them. He saw what we once were in his time. Chose to give them a chance, and they have so proven themselves. I'd rather lean on the optimism that my elder has, rather than the survivalistic nature that we have grown far more accustomed to. And as she twirls her hand, it like transforms into a Venus flytrap before snapping and then back into a hand again. I'm beginning to wonder if there's something of a renaissance on the horizon of Doomspace.
Well, ma'am, I don't know much about this renaissance that you speak about, but in my time, I will try to find a way to pay it forward. Your generosity that you've shown us.
She smiles and nods, and just ushers you forward. She stops at this point on the edge of the bridge where her feet and the moss just meet and end to the stone, and allows you all to walk forward. And there you see an overpass with flowers draping across like a perfect archway, leading into a beautiful stone-shapen ruin with open halls, areas that seem to have once maybe been a meeting room of ceremony or a meeting room of politics, now have been transformed into that of a natural space of tranquility and ritual.
Pretty close.
And the rest of you there see another, as she has named them, a Silva. An older one, a male figure whose banana leaf-like hair draping down past his ankles, and holding, like gripping a curling crooked staff, leaning on it like with all his weight. And behind him, sitting on this bed of manicured grass, you see a gif, unarmored, but in common clothing that have been overdraped with natural linens and some sort of robes that seem to have been made and manufactured by these Silva. And next to that gif, you do see two other individuals. A male and a female elf. Three of them are looking rather serious. They're talking amongst themselves and are almost look like they're pointing at a map and other things. You can kind of just like hear like bits of banter and back and forth. And as this elder steps back and allows you all to enter, Crux puts on his cap again. Warwick! Warwick, is that you? And he turns around this other gif, surprisingly, and you see like this deep gash across his eye with like this thin stitching of like vines stitching over his eye, and almost like a not a crushed skull, but like definitely like an indent on that side of his head, like a deep wound has taken place there. And he looks over with the other eye that he has. Oh my days, Crux! Wow! And they immediately, like, they dap each other up, they clasp hands, and begin to speak in their own fluent tongue. Absu, you're able to understand it, and they're basically just regaling what has transpired, what Warwick has gone through, and the fight that he had with astral elves, and Crux was like, oh, me too, and all of the fights that they just had, and Prince Zeleth and all this and that. And Jarvel, you see your parents standing on the far side of this meeting table, and your mother there, just absolutely shocked. Your father having a...
What are you doing over there?
I think I know what he's doing.
I think we all know what he's doing.
I don't.
Wow.
What was the
My moment is gone.
I went upstairs to do it. I went upstairs to fart, and then
I followed you. I
I didn't.
followed you down. I
and I
said,
came down here and I had to fart right when I smelled the stank of this godforsaken room. Go on.
Yeah. Beautiful moment interrupted by a fart. Classic.
Reunion.
I thought you were gonna do what we were talking about earlier and start like smoking or something in the corner.
Oh yeah. It's just, as your father stands and just looks at you, he takes off his glasses. Son, it's so. How did you find us?
Hello.
The baby seagulls.
Did I miss something?
Take me to my mom.
Yeah, you did.
About me?
No.
Oh no!
This is
No!
It's kind of what I look
just
like.
yeah.
Dude, of course.
There's this that.
I've literally thought I've looked like Hillary Clinton. So it makes sense that you would
No,
think
it's
that,
that-
too.
Yeah, it does make sense.
It does make
That's
It
amazing.
does make sense.
yeah, it's
So,
When's your shift
to
start?
be honest, it was bit of an accident. I mean, I don't know how far back to go in my history right at this moment, but I've been living in this village on Toral, and there's been lots of astral activity, you might say. I set out to figure out what that was about. Somehow I ended up in space. It's not even clear in my memory at this point. And we ended up fighting some people. I was just trying to save the village, and turns out, I guess that's what you were doing the whole time.
It was a very business-like interaction for meeting your parents.
Well, I don't know them.
It is amazing how the way that fate works. I've always wondered if at some point you'd find your way towards the ward, and well, here you are.
Here I am.
But I just want to know, and then immediately just like cutting your father off in like face full of tears. Your mom just like tackles you with a massive hug. Thanks, Doug.
Wow. The realism is just there.
It's so
like a mother's hug.
just like a mother's hug.
Joan actually got in front of your mother. And
she goes for the hug and Joan just like slides right up.
Jarvel, hi, I missed you.
And as she goes for the embrace, she like clasps your head. My mother always knows when his boys come home.
Is this home?
Well, I mean, it's more of a figure of speech, and I just can't believe it. I never thought we'd be able to see you, or never thought that we'd be able to. I didn't think we'd be able to go back home after all this. Your father and I have been on quite a long mission, and it's brought us to ahead. Warwick has been quite a wonderful help in helping us understand the people and understanding how the ward can best support them and protect them from the Astral Elves. In fact, the Coalition have been able to make reasonable contact. In fact, I thought we'd have to meet up at Malice, but Warwick has been very successful in, well, and he points over there, and you see a large runic circle, a gate for the rest of the Coalition to arrive here at this refuge, unseen, untouched by Astral Elves. Probably the best case scenario for us at the moment. Tomorrow we were going to have a meeting with some of the groups that have joined our cause alongside with the Coalition, some from realms outside of ours. Some have been a little bit unsuccessful. I haven't heard much from Commander Trenton in some time, but I'm sure he's
That was our
doing his
contact,
best.
right?
That was.
Well, I've heard from him recently, in fact.
You have?
Yes, he was our contact and who put us in this direction. Our understanding is a bit vague, but it seems they made landfall on XARYXIS and it was not there. And then they were attacked, it seems.
Any other? Did he say anything else?
He told us to come here and then to go to
Malice.
Malice, yes. I was thinking angry, but Malice.
To go to Angry.
So I suppose that you know better than us what to make of all that. We do have with us a XARYXIan princess who claims to be the rightful heir to the throne and a force for good. It's just Just throwing that out there. It's a bit all of a mess.
That is, in fact, the best of starts, and he goes over to introduce himself to Princess Zadali, and they exchange the same back and forth, and then she gives the same explanation of who she is, where she comes from, what her plan is, and all that. The Elder Silva steps forward.
If I may interject, I do believe that the sun of which we may use for this day is setting upon us soon. Your time to rest is arriving. Places to slumber are off in the eastern corridor, and in other places for you to wander and speak and converse more so in privacy are off beyond the Western Bridge. I leave this space to you, and I bid you all a good night.
And he shuffles off towards the bridge where he mentions, and Warwick then steps forward.
Well, yes, the beds are amazing. They really are the most pleasurable sleeps that I've ever had in all my days. I feel like I am sleeping on a cloud every single time, and I never have to fluff any of my pillows. Anyway, follow me, and he shows you to this. It's basically this wide open hostel, just a bunch of beds and a central long table for a meeting and maybe having a meal. But every bed has it kind of looks like a mosquito net that just can go around each bed to give you a little bit of a veil, a little bit of privacy. Is there anything before you all take a long rest that you would like to do, or anyone you'd like to speak to before?
I'd probably like to speak with my parents a bit. Maybe clear the air a little bit.
I want to speak to some local rangers or hunters in order to. I also am kind of looking for another bow. I know I have a crossbow. I kind of want it. Crossbows, that thing is too good to not use. But I also just want to know the nature of the land a little bit, just for fun.
Okay.
Maybe paint something.
If the rest of you are not doing anything, then yes.
I was thinking, do they have any type of magical equipment, staffs, wands, anything like that?
They have. Eventually, as you go around, you're able to identify what looks to be a scrying ball. It is affixed to a pedestal in one of the far chambers to the west of this room where you all met. So it's not something that you can take with you, but you know how to use this thing. It will allow you to cast the scrying spell.
I am, with permission from everybody who's there, I'm going to go use that.
Okay. Make a persuasion check.
Nice.
Aren't you charismatic?
Yeah, but I only got a 4.
Oh.
There is a bit
I
of
think it's there.
sanctity and protectiveness that these beings have to a lot of their architecture and arcanum. Though the Silva have been gracious to let you stay, those who are guarding this portion of the fortress unfortunately are not allowing you to use it right now. You find what looks to be some sort of humanoid Artuukian hybrid of an individual. Someone who has the mantle torso of an Artuuk, but the head is separated from its body with just a very thin, lanky neck. And in place of the 5 eyes, you just see 2, and it's still a spade-like head, but this very small mouth at the front. And the arms look like
humanoid in musculature, but are still like these spiny tendrils, but with the length of that of a humanoid. And from the waist down is kind of like that viney, flowery legs that the Silva have. And as you approach, it kind of just like turns its head a full 180. And you see its neck twisting around.
I've come to inquire about these forests and the nature of your land. I spotted this one mystical, interesting, I don't even know if I should believe that I saw it. Giant creature, 70, 80 feet tall. Have you seen such a thing?
In your head, you hear,
"'Tis the omen of the woods. Tarask, as others refer.
Oh, that's way worse than the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
They are birthed from the core of this moon, but only one roams at a time. We try our best to stay away.
Is there anything about this creature that might attack if it notices some being like my clan, that is in my clan?
It doesn't enjoy loud noises. There are few things that attract a beast of that size, and even fewer things that it will feast upon willingly, unless provoked. Have you come across an omen of the wood?
I was blessed, I guess they may say, to have seen the creature on our way down. Our travels into this region.
he glides down a route that winds and curls around the underside of a bridge, and as you follow him down, there's a thin ravine of water that kind of just like opens up into this like five-pointed pool, and he says, and this pool is probably about 60 feet in diameter, like this wide, vast pool. And he steps into it a little bit.
A blessing, because even an omen can provide water for us.
And as you inspect further, this is a footprint.
You find life from and you hide from this great creature. Awe.
Yes, quite the paradox we found ourselves
Paradox indeed, but strange. I might think. But trust, I know, to
Trust.
trust you. So, is there anything that this creature, has this creature tried attacking your people before?
in. Only once.
What type of attacks does this creature do?
Well, from what my ancestors have told me, it wasn't necessarily us that it attacked, but invaders. Ones that flew down, trying to extract our ores, our energies by force. But it knew just where to strike.
And he points to the split ship.
Very headstrong.
Thank you for sharing.
Don't get any ideas. This thing does an average of 144 damage per turn.
Oh, okay. No idea. Like, OMG, so random, but like, could you tell me about this thing?
It's so random, but like, what's its HP?
Yeah. What type of strike?
What's the armor
what
class
type
of this
of-
thing?
What type of attacks?
The closest I have gone is maybe about 400 meters. But you look not nearly ready enough to get that close.
So maybe once we beat the Elite Four, we'll be able to.
Then you fight the
circle back
champion.
around, yeah.
Yeah. You fight the Elite Four again.
Yeah,
And then you fight
all
the
the gym leaders get stronger. We have to go back and beat them again.
Yes.
Gotta grind.
You fight the Tarrasque on Mount Silver.
Hopefully it'll be a shiny.
Yes, hopefully. He begins to, like, almost like he's going in reverse, like, glide back up the rune system that he took to take you down into this ravine.
Follow suit and then maybe proceed to go back to where everyone else is.
Jarvel, you are going after your folks. At this point, while everyone else is, like, gathering themselves and getting themselves ready to retire, your father and mother are standing on the edge of that same meeting room near a window, and you can see a little bit of amber-esque starlight peering through, and they're both talking to each other very seriously, whispered tones. And as you approach, your father glances over at you. Your mother looking concerned, and your father just like looking stern, as best as you can gauge.
Dragonborn, they're hard to tell.
He looks over at you, and they just stop talking. Probably not what you would expect to find outside of Toril, huh?
Well, I didn't really know there was anything outside of Toril.
That's fair.
It is good to finally meet you.
If I'm honest, I do not know if I have another opportunity to find my son again. I just wish it wasn't under these circumstances. I wish I could actually been around to be a father to you in your youth.
I know you've been fighting this war, but why? Why was I left behind?
Your mother and I did not believe it to be right of us to brazenly take our young, innocent, and, well, no offense, boy, foolish lad with us to meetings of politics and war. It felt, at least to us, more responsible to allow you to feel like you have some sort of childhood, some sort of youth that you can remember and have nostalgia, instead of being forced to grow up in the complications of war. But maybe that was a misunderstanding, a misstep.
But I don't know what all you've been through during the time. Perhaps I ought not to judge too harshly. They do say that hindsight is 20/20.
I think they do say that. I think they do say that.
My childhood was not what I've understood to be
Normal?
by any sense of the word, nor carefree. The only way that I found to make my place in the world was by becoming the defender of the town that I stayed in.
Well, I just have to ask, do you bear any resentment to your mother and I for leaving you to grow? And you can say yes. I would not fault you for it.
I'm not sure. I've always wondered who you were. Never expected to have a chance to meet you. I assumed you were gone. Dead. So any feelings that I have are brand new. I suppose I just wish it had been different.
Then allow us to make this new chapter one that you can one day be proud of. If this makes any bit of difference, I would love for you to be
I would love for you to be, in current absence of Trent, to assume the role of First Commander.
Well, that's an honor. I don't know if I deserve it, but...
Come on, you've been in astral space for how long?
A few weeks.
And you've managed to stay alive through what I assume you've experienced mind flayers? Maybe some pirates?
Yes, we've dealt with it all, I suppose. I will do anything you ask of me.
Sleep on it. I will say this. I want you to sleep on it because, and not to put so much pressure, but a number of representatives from other realms, as well as other supporters of the Coalition, are coming on our behest here to this moon at dawn. I hope you'll be able to come to a decision by the end of that meeting.
Well, thank you for your trust in me. I suppose it does feels fitting somehow that fate, chance aligned us simply of our own natures and desires.
Guess the apple doesn't fall too far, as one would say. Get some rest. It won't be long. He pats you on your shoulder, and you, for the first time in probably your life, you feel a deep sense of pride from him.
I grab his shoulder back.
He grabs your other shoulder.
You just start grappling. He leg swipes you.
all the roughhousing I missed out on.
Yeah, all the pallet around.
Comes back to the bunks, and we're all like, so, there are many accusations talking about how you're an apple baby. How do you respond?
Go ahead and give yourselves a long rest. Well deserved.
Go give you long rest.
Well, you want to plead your case to the elder?
Yeah, I
Okay.
really want to. I really want to try to use it.
Too late, bedtime.
Okay. What is
Long rest
the
means
case that you want to
you're
give?
I want to directly tell the elder that I'm freaking out. This thing has contacted me multiple times. I'm not sure if I can even share the rest of the party. I don't know what's going on. The last time this thing contacted me, it took over, and I almost killed someone. So please, I'm begging you, I need to use that orb. Just
I'm gonna say like partnership.
please. I would even greatly appreciate your help in using it.
I don't know if I get that.
I will lower the DC,
Yeah.
but it's still a persuasion.
I can see it.
I mean Cheetos.
18 plus
cheese.
5.
Cheese and noodles.
5,
Cheetos.
23.
23. Those Artuuks can be a little bit stubborn in their youth. If they see me walking up to the pedestal, they'll move out of the way. And
Sir, thank you.
he like limps over to the pedestal. They all just like immediately part ways, but then just like as you walk past them, their eyes just kind of like glow a little bit. Like they're on high alert.
Okay. I'm like, hey.
He puts his non-resting hand on the orb, and he ushers you to do the same. And not on my hand. The orb.
He's like rubbing his hand.
I appreciate your help.
The orb, Joan.
Joe knows no age limit.
Wrong orb.
The other orb. No, not that one either.
You see his green complexion begin to glow with warmth, radiate for a moment, and his eyes, like laser beams, directing into two beams of light into the orb as he says some sort of incantation under his breath in a language that you
might have heard Turb speak once before. But then after this ritual completes, and you feel like you're standing there for like a long time. Like he's not just saying like bibbidi bobbidi boo. Like he's like saying
The whole thing, Alakazoo.
the whole chorus.
I'm like checking the watch, like it'll be all this time.
And then about 10 minutes pass, and the orb itself glows, and his voice has a bit of a bellow to it now.
Is it you we should contact?
I don't know his name. He just kind of seems robotic.
Focus your mind on the image. Focus your mind on the voice. Focus your mind on him.
And as he says him, you almost hear like your patron's tone, him coming through.
It's this guy.
You found him! Make a charisma saving throw. For a moment you feel like, okay, is this shit even gonna work? And your vision is blackened for a moment, and you are transported to what you assume to be the Nine Hells. Deep, dark, fiery chasm, and a throne of obsidian and bone, upon which a goat-headed individual sits. Massive, broad shoulders, and a fur cloak where these imps, like on his shoulders, like he looks to be probably like at least as large as Bobo, maybe a bit larger compared to these imps who are maybe about 5 inches tall, are like brushing and cleaning blood out of his cape. And you see him, he has like this bonish mask, broad musculature, and the most evil staff you can imagine. The source, you can assume, of where his power comes from. And you see him toiling some greenish, blackish magic around it, and almost like stars orbiting, but as he focuses, you see him communicating to one of these glowing stars. And then another. And then another. You're not the only one he's a patron to. Is there anything that you are hoping to hear or say?
Hoping to approach him.
So you are not, you are not physically there,
Right.
nor are you like spectrally there.
Oh.
That you are seeing into this.
I
into
can't
him.
communicate though.
You can try.
So I say this out loud with the intention of sounding like I mean it to myself, but I really want him to hear it. I just kind of say, oh no, what have I done?
As you say that, one of the bits of light circling on the bottom of it just like, and he glances down at it, and you just see him just chuckles, smacks an imp to the side.
I know you can hear me. Speak back.
Make a charisma check, adding your spell attack modifier.
You have. Sorry, you were reminding me of Gandalf.
You have no power.
You have the Riz. The Riz.
Use your spell attack modifier, which has your
Those who
Wanda.
are not lost.
Your
proficiency is
Her wrestler is never late,
20 out of 10.
nor is he early. He resists precisely what he
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good, Mike.
He does precisely what he needs to.
That's pretty good, Mike.
Yeah, that's
16. Okay. That same star at the end of his staff just like glows a little bit, and like almost a little bit of a spark pops. Strokes his long, just fly-ridden goat beard, and for a while you don't think he's gonna say anything, and just replies or says out loud,
I'm wondering if he's starting to complain. Do you think so, isn't it?
She. And your vision ends.
Sorry I don't have as much power as I used to. I might be able to in a few days, but...
Take your time. I appreciate what you've done here.
Yes, I must retire. You should too.
Give yourselves a long rest. The morning crests upon the horizon of Aruun, and several Silva have gathered themselves into this space, and they all say to you, the Elder and the rest of your coalition are awaiting your presence at the gate. Come. Bring your things and your best minds with you. They begin to walk away, walk out of the room. Go ahead and if there's anything that you want to like bring with you to prepare for the day, or for this meeting with a bunch of folks from the coalition, now would be the time to do so. Or if there's anything that you guys want to strategize peer to peer.
I pull Absu aside and I go, this is kind of a long shot given everything that's happened, but do you still have any contact with the syndicate?
All I have is an address and a name.
On Toral?
Yeah.
Do you mind passing that along?
To you? Sure.
To me.
Yes.
Sorry.
Are you sharing that information with the group?
Let me find what I wrote
You have
down.
something to say to everyone?
Yeah.
I would actually go up to Turb and I wanted to ask him, so have you thought much about this ring? Do you have it?
She gave it to me, did she? Did she?
She did not. She
But she has it though, right?
she has it.
Okay. Is she with us now? Is she?
Oh wait, no,
she's
she
back-
she would be with you.
I
She
was
would
gonna
be
say,
with you.
she's
Yeah,
here, right?
Yeah, she would be with you.
So is everyone that was back at the ship, are they with us now, or are they still like at the ship?
No, right now, at least right now, like, as far as you can tell, it's your party, Crux, Bobo, and Princess Zadali. But it's
Bobo.
What?
Yeah,
I did-
he's the tatted vampire.
Oh, okay,
pirate,
alright.
the big one. Yeah, Bobo.
He's got Bobo.
I just tell Absu, I've thought about it, and I'm just, if the time is right, and I need to use it, we'll see what happens.
Well, no offense, there's not a lot to go on. We've got to have a plan.
I mean, do you want me to use it right now? I don't. Doesn't
Well,
seem
no,
like
but you would So you've decided to use it?
Yeah.
Alright then.
Princess Zadali kind of like, she was already walking ahead, but then she stops. And as you all are like walking, she grabs you aside. Sorry, big ears, I can hear a lot. Did I catch that you are interested in taking them down with me?
Yep.
Alright. Well, I don't want to show all our cards at the moment, but when the time is right, I will present it, and we will state our case before the Coalition, and I hope that the rest of your comrades are also on board. Right.
I'll spread the word, but I'm sure we're all on the same page.
Let's be off then. And Crux is even like, he's buttoned like every button on his vest, like he's trying to make himself look absolutely as presentable as possible. And crossing over the bridge, you see Chaeltah. You can still kind of hear like the low pitched footsteps from miles away, not really sounding any louder or any closer or any further than they were yesterday. But the rest of you approach, and you see in this grand meeting space, and in the center of it is this, what they're referring to as the gate, a teleportation circle. And your father pulls out a sending stone. Okay, now is the time. Calling all members of the Coalition to meet at the gate that we have set up. Single file, please, as to not make it complicated on your entry. Thanks. And a bit of time passes before the circle alights with blue flame 5 inches from the ground, and there you see 5, 6, 7 different troops about your size coming through the gate. Some of which bearing the emblem of the Moonrise Ward. Others seem to be ragtag troops from other realms, Toril. And then you see after like a long pause, there's like 7 other individuals that pass through the gate as well. And they certainly are not from here, and they are probably the most, the most dissociated, at least by appearance, to the ward. They all seem to be led by this one blonde half-elf individual, another one a blue dragonborn, a human, a tiefling with dark skin, a short and nimble-looking gnome, and this large, like it kind of reminds you of Bobo, just in like his size and stature, but he's kind of like what you assume to be like a Goliath type. This individual, like strangely diverse crew stepping forward. And your father takes a stand. All right. We have brought together many from across the realms. Some from Oerth, some from Toril, and some from beyond. We need to have a plan, and I do understand that there is a member of the XARYXIan Empire, yes, and she raises her hand. I am Princess Adali. I represent those who wish to end the strife that the Empire has caused to all realms. And she nods as she's like waiting for her place. I would like to call upon the leader of your group, and pointing to you all. Has there been any sort of plan that you have moving forward? Any sort of even just like spitballing how you want to approach the XARYXIans? We're all ears here. We're all willing to fight for the same thing.
Do we even know where they are right now?
Well, I believe they do. And he points to the 7 that just walked through. And the half-elf steps forward. Yes, we have been tracking the coordinates of the XARYXIan Citadel for the past 4 days. Yes, they are outside of the considerable XARYXIS space, but they are not far beyond that. They are actually not far beyond Doomspace as well. What we have gathered is that they have in fact set up some sort of trap. A monster from the far realms that we have identified to be known as an astral dreadnought to capture any sort to pass through. I have a bad feeling that that is where half of your fleet has gone through unsuccessfully, and starting to piece together that this is likely where Trent and his fleet were ambushed by. The problem is we not only need to take care of that threat in order to stop any sort of assault against the Star or the Star Siphon, but we also need to make some sort of distraction against the Citadel. The moment any vessel enters their system, the Dreadnought will strike. But if we were to just go full force against the Citadel, then there's nothing to go against the Siphon. They will have a barricade. So there's going to need to be a 3-pronged attack. And Crux says, I'm sorry. Please, pardon my ignorance, but how do you have such authority on knowing, first of all, any of this? And our home planet has been attacked personally. We've witnessed it being siphoned from their star. Do you have any idea where your pompous ass might know what that feels like? And he says, as a matter of fact, we do. Our home was dwindling, waning, and we did believe that it was because of a overabundance of energy selfishly used by our own people, but it was after further investigation through our conglomerate that we were able to understand the XARYXIans have sent their siphon to our realm as well. I'm sorry, your conglomerate? So another coalition? Yes, I personally represent the planar governmental conglomerate that has been able to understand the XARYXIans from afar. And with our own personal experience of being able to know what it's like from our home being taken from us and having to take refuge into a realm outside of our own, I think we have some stake in this conversation. And so do the rest of us, though they may not necessarily represent the PGC.
Previous campaign.
I, in fact, do. And what sort of accolade can we give to the rest of you? I am Thane Yearling, captain of the Crimson Guard. This is, and he points over to the Goliath. This is one of my other trusted compatriots. His name is Bruno. Guardian Hand of the Shintari. Drevas. Gilded Blade of the
It's like
West.
Deadpool X
Infinity War!
Thumbs out.
I thought that was a slip of the tongue, the PGC thing. Like, I totally thought you just... Continue.
He points over to the blue dragonborn. Drimithil, Song Weaver of the Forgotten,
Bird.
nods over to as Drevas kind of sticks his back up straight and like elbows the shorter one. Phoebe Symphony, Keeper of Zol's Veil. Balake Torrens III, Master of the Fated Weave. And last but certainly not least,
At the cookout with the feasted weave.
Tyrone, Minstrel of the Hallowed Flame. We all come here to represent New Validen's commitment to fight against the XARYXIan Empire. Anything you have to say about our commitment, about our desire to see this reign of terror from the Empire, can be spoken to me directly. Crux is like,
Okay, that's a lot of titles. Okay. Good enough for me. I don't know what you guys have to say about it, but I guess they're fine.
here's the thing, and your father speaks up. The Astral Dreadnought is not something to be taken lightly. If there was any crew that I would trust to handle that front, it would be this 7. Now the question is, what are we going to do about the blockade, and what are we going to do about the Star Siphon? Your thoughts?
The blockade and the Star Siphon, those are 2 other ships?
So, the Citadel has is basically commanding the blockade around the Star Siphon. And you can assume that the Star Siphon is somewhere in XARYXIS space. You just can't... the star is hidden. So, there you would have to find a way to deal with the blockade and deal with the Star Siphon, the thing that Princess Sidali is hopefully using Turb's help with to bring down. But then, of course, there is the matter of the Astral Dreadnought that is their watchdog.
So we can assume that the Star Siphon is somewhere... It is being... Like, the Astral Dreadnought is protecting the Star Siphon, or is it just like...
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
So
we
we
don't
would-
actually know the exact location of the Star Siphon, right?
Correct.
But if we found one, we might be able to find the other?
Yes.
Right.
You find the blockade, you find the Star Siphon, or vice versa.
You find the Dreadnought.
Find the Dreadnought, you find XARYXIS space.
Save the girl, save the world. Save the cheerleader, save the world.
Yes.
Is my understanding correct that the Star Siphon is really the target of this operation?
Ultimately, yes.
So the blockade is a mere blockade.
Yes.
Is it a wall or is it a group of ships? I don't understand.
It's, as Zadali speaks up, it is a fleet of the most elite force. It's something that my father has built up in order to defend our star when it was fading first. And I can only assume my brother has grown it exponentially. This is going to have to be something that we... If we fight it head on, it is going to be the biggest galactic ship battle that any of us have ever come across.
Would you say that its weaponry is capable of and targeted against holding back larger ships.
It's possible that it will hold back the largest of ships, but I have a feeling smaller vessels may be about the size of Last Breath, but smaller vessels would be able to slip past and maybe even reach the Star Siphon. Now, it is connected to the Citadel. It's not going to be one central weapon floating in XARYXIS space. It is something that you'll have to carefully and stealthily traverse, assuming that we are the ones to do so.
So this fleet of the blockade, are they like humanoid pilots? Are they ships similar in size to the Last Breath, or to the Moondancer? Like, is it something that we could like sort of disable or disrupt their communications from the inside if we were able to navigate through it under the cover of darkness?
If you were to get to the communications cortex within the Citadel, you would very easily be able to jam the blockade. Any sort of communications, their spelljammers will be literally blinded. But that means that whoever is to go down there is going to be extremely vulnerable, as they will have to be the smallest unit to do so. And the blockade, and then one of the Moonrise Ward generals, you see a half-orcish man step forward.
I command some of the largest fleets, some of the largest galleons we have at our disposal. And I know that we'll be able to fight this blockade even if you aren't able to make it to this communications cortex. We can buy some time. How much that is gonna depend on whoever is able to get down inside the Citadel.
Head will have that shield down.
So, I mean, if the Last Breath joins your fleet, if we could even send some of our Orwiks in small fighters to join your large army, we could cloak the Moondancer in invisibility and potentially weave through the blockade to land on.
The only problem is there is a zone of true sight around the Citadel beyond a particular size. They are anticipating our size galleons to pass through and intercept them.
Even invisible ones.
Even invisible ones. But with Topola's help, and hopefully your father's help, would be able to maybe individually take our own fighters to the Citadel, cloaked.
Are they cloakable?
Well, if Moondancer is, then they certainly are too.
So
Well, I know
just
Moondancer has
our
a
group of
cloaking device installed on it.
Your mother actually speaks up. This is my specialty after all. I've been able to outfit many of our fighters with the ability to alternate between ultra speeds or cloaking coverage. If you want to go fast, then you won't be able to have the cover of true sight, but you will be able to move at reasonable speed while invisible. And I've been able to do that on all fighters. If this Topola of yours doesn't have that, then we'll be able to supply that. We are prepared to do whatever and offer whatever it takes to see this whole thing through.
So just our 3 small fighters would be able to get through, potentially, if the...
There are additional ones at our disposal.
Oh, there are.
Well, I'm asking.
Yes.
How many?
At least 3 dozen.
Okay, so more than our whole party.
More than it at least is present, sure.
I mean, would we have to leave a crew on the Moondancer to join the attacking fleet?
Madam, I speak for the captain. of Moondancer, and we are prepared to meet the blockade if that is what you require of us.
Well, and we also could position the Moondancer outside of the blockade, invisible, so that once the blockade's disrupted, and let's say that the Dreadnought is still not yet defeated among the other ships that they're fighting, have not yet been defeated, the Moondancer would be able to pass through as well once the blockade's disrupted by those that have landed on the fighters.
Your mother says that optimistic, but I do see that being a very, very strong possibility if all things line up well. If we're able to distract them with our forces against theirs, if the lots of you are able to sneak through their back door and disrupt the comms cortex, all that's left is, well, the Star Siphon.
And our objective with this Star Siphon, is there a point of weakness on it? Is there perhaps a vent of some sort that we could shoot?
And a force to rely on?
What do they call that run?
The runway?
No, they call the
trench?
Trench run, yeah.
Yeah.
Possibly a trench running up to a vent.
As the dollar says, I don't think it's quite that complicated. I do believe it's a matter of reaching the level of which that this weapon is attached to. But it is going to require an immense amount of power, which Turb and I have agreed will be the ones to take it down.
So would those taking it down, would you have to be on fighter jets, or would you be
We
on
would be
land?
on the Citadel.
Okay.
So it's kind of important that we get you there.
But who's taking down the Citadel?
Do we have any sort of backup plan if one of you dies?
Well, she can't die. Because she's the one who has to assume the throne.
I'm not
There
sure
is-
we
there is
give
no
two
plan
fucks
B.
about,
There is no plan B
XARYXIS.
for that.
I mean, I think didn't we already establish it has to be a XARYXIan that uses the other ring. So if she dies,
Well, that's my
we should
question.
We're packing it up.
yeah.
That's my question. Is there anyone that can take either of your places? It's a contingency plan.
Are you aware of any other of your kind?
We give the ring to Joan.
We give both rings to Joan.
You guys like it? Put a ring on it?
I have no knowledge of these types of things, but I do know that you spoke of the arcane and of the elemental. I myself and my parents as well are. The dragons are, to my way of thinking, like a merging of the arcane and elemental in one. Could any of us perhaps be a backup of any kind?
I am not aware of that. Of the attunement process succeeding beyond that of a starborn or a primordial blood. It is possible that one who holds both could do it. If you're concerned about us getting there, then make sure that we get there in one piece. I would say that would be the utmost importance.
So that's plan A.
You've mentioned my uncle and his association with the Syndicate. Is there any way we can force their hand into maybe participating in this assault?
I'll see what I can do. I still have connection. I could make a sending to your uncle. Alright. So the plan, as it stands, a distracting front against their blockade, Team Validen will fight against the Astral Dreadnought, their watchdog, and Team Toril will make a covert attack against the Citadel directly and ultimately destroy the Star Siphon. Does anyone have any objections? No?
I mean, is there any scenario where we can just covertly move these fighters through? I mean, it seems like taking the Dreadnought head on is a losing battle. I don't really know the capabilities of the blockade, but
Team Validen said they were up to the challenge.
Balake Torrens
They did.
Speaks up. This is something that I have spent many years after a very harrowing fight with a giant snake that I have learned a bit more of the eldritch and far-reaching kinds. It is going to be a challenge, but I know, after seeing what we're all capable of, that we'll be able to make mincemeat out of it. I think. There you go! Mincemeat. So, do we take a half day? Do we take a day?
We need ore to get there.
Right. I'll show you the way.
Unless you have cells to give us.
It's all part of the.
That's accounted for.
We've. It's not quite accounted for.
I mean, for your own food.
For our own, yes, but in terms of what you came here on, absolutely. But I will direct you to the abandoned Fluxen mine. It's not far from here. You'll be able to fuel up it. It's going to take a little bit. I would say, let's take a day to gather your ores, to refuel, and then we'll be off at dawn tomorrow. Okay. Before we officially end the session here, why don't you guys take a look at your characters from the old campaign, as you will be using them next session.
Hell yeah! I was wondering if you're gonna do that. That's awesome.
When did you have Master of the Forgotten? What does that mean? Why?
Somebody left their weave behind.
Someone left their weave in your backseat.
I forgot to bring the weave.
Oh, I forgot the weave.
I forgot the weave for Joan. Sorry.
My characters.
I lost my bearings with my weave.
Level 14? Were we level 14? No.
You were 10.
Holy shit! I don't think I've ever had a level 14 character.
I'm 14 too.
14 too. Oh my god.
102 HP.
Dude.
So
Holy crap!
this will be for next week. So if you're here next week, you'd probably be playing Seth's the character. Which, wait, were you?
He was Strimothil.
Yeah. Who am I thinking of? Stunk. Was that a one shot?
That was a one shot. Yeah.
One shot.
Okay. I don't know why.
You'll be stunk level
Yeah, I
5.
think he was a barbarian. He was a barbarian, right? Or Seth's other character. Seth's character was barbarian, right? Or was
He was a monk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's the Goliath.
What was his name?
Bruno,
Bruno. Oh yeah.
Guardian Hand of the Shintari.
You know what's funny? When you started
Oath
introducing
bow?
them and you started describing them, I was like, wait a second. That kind of sounds like our old party. Nah.
Plus 11.
But it makes sense because old Validen was like imploding, and they had to go to a new planet in order to survive.
Oh, true.
So this is like they're not just here because they're mercenaries. They have like a personal tie to taking down the XARYXIans. So next session, in 2 weeks, you guys will be picking up your old character sheets.
Holy cow. I'll bring my laptop so I can shift between them.
Alright, just shoot some lightning bolts.
There you go.
Lightning bolt, lightning bolt.
Definitely have fun looking at your
So,
new items and new spells that you would have gotten between then and now.
That's crazy, man.